Yes, yes. I definitely like the longer intro with the music. It gets you into the music a little bit, doesn't it?
We all could do with it just being a little bit longer in life, couldn't we, Gary?
Yeah, story of our lives, isn't it, Chris? But listen, you might notice something a little bit different about the intro tonight. And before we kick off today's episode, we've got a brand new partner to tell you about. And honestly, mate, I think this one is very on brand for us.
That's right, Gary. You know, if you love football, you know the feeling. You don't just watch the game, you live it.
I know. And from the gym, which I need to get involved with, definitely at this point, to the bar, to the street, football, we know it isn't a hobby, it's an identity.
Yeah, EPL Across the Pond have teamed up with Numazane, a custom T-shirt company made for football fans who want to wear the game their way.
And as their motto says, it is not official, it's just undeniable.
Yeah, that's right. These aren't replica kits. These are tees that spark conversation and connection.
And it's about wearing the game wherever you go.
And belonging without permission.
Which, let's face it, Chris, you've probably done a number of times yourself.
Yeah, live dares. He who dares, Rodders, he who dares.
Where is that drum? I should have had that brunch ready to go. But listen, thank you for joining us today. It's Thursday night. That means can only mean one thing. It's our EPL Across the Pond Thursday preview show. So if you want to subscribe, if you haven't done already, shame on you. But if you have or you haven't and you'd like to do so, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube at EPL Across the Pond. And tonight is Thursday preview. As always, if you have an opinion or you want to get involved in the chatter, please reach out to us into the comments. Say hello. Say hello, something against us, say something, make a comment, want to answer a question, get involved in that as well. And also for this week, mates, as well, I was thinking about this. Like I see this all the time on other podcasts. If you're watching on your laptop or on the telly at home, take a picture, tag us in it. We'll repost it just to get a little bit of a social climate going, mate. And we can share the show together. Hopefully we can get a few more listeners along the way.
What are they going to tag? What should they tag? Hashtag Gary and Chris.
I'd go hashtag Gary and Chris. I appreciate you putting my name first as well. Cheers.
You know, Ace before beauty and all that kind of good stuff as well. But here's the thing. I was thinking about the other day, Gary. What's coming up this summer?
I'm going back home.
You'll go back home. Me too in August. But what's coming up? World Cup, right? Everybody's waiting for the World Cup and everybody loves free shit. So should we give some free shit away?
Yeah, listen, you know me. I love a freebie, mate. Free anything. Free gear? Yes.
Well, free gear. So here's the deal, guys. We're going to start running We're going to run a competition. We're going to run a competition. Every episode we do, we're going to have a competition. So if we're asking questions, if you want to tag us, if you want to follow us, you can follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take a screenshot. DM. We'll give you an entry to our competition for our special raffle prize that we're going to be giving away. Tell you more about that in a second. If you tag us on something, hashtag Gary and Chris, follow us, do whatever you want, answer one of our questions, drop us a DM, say hello to us. Comment on the show, we might give you a raffle ticket. What we're going to do away this summer, we're going to give away not one, but 2 World Cup shirts of your choice. I've got 2 here right now. So if you order a medium England or a medium USA, you may get one of these. But if you want to order a different shirt, any team you want this summer, any size, we don't judge whether you're more small, medium, and large, or a bit bigger than that. We'll give you 2 shirts. We're going to every show, I'll make it up as I go along. So every show we do, we're going to do a competition or questions, interact with us basically. We'll give you a raffle ticket into the drawing. We'll announce the winners on May 13th. May 13th, we'll announce the winners. So I'll work on my spiel a little bit more, but there's 2 free shirts we're giving away to anyone that enters a competition. Nobody's entered so far, right? So if you want to go onto YouTube, click subscribe, take a screenshot, DM it to us on Facebook or Instagram. We'll put you into the hat.
And it doesn't have to be a USA shirt, and it doesn't have to be a Liverpool shirt either, is it? Or a Liverpool shirt, or a England.
You can say it. You can say it. I know you're a citizen of America, but you can say it.
Listen, I'm looking at this one. I'm thinking Japan away.
Do you know what, Gary? I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to slow it down. Oh, Robert's joined the chat. It's nice to see him in the show. I'm going to slow it down a little bit now. We were talking about this before the show. This could easily be. I know World Cup Wednesday is a show we do on Wednesdays. Today is Thursday, the day before Friday. But the show that we talk about on Wednesday, Gary's favorite segment, if you've not joined in and tuned the show, you can go on YouTube and watch those clips as well. Gary loves to talk about shirts. I honestly think this summer's World Cup has the best selection of kits in the entire history of the World Cup.
Yeah, prove me wrong. You could go, listen, if you enter the competition, you could get the Japan shirt, which I think is lovely. Ooh. You could get the Scotland away shirt.
Ooh.
You know, which hopefully we'll see a little bit longer than we want, that people expect. You've got the Curacao away shirt. You get very excited there, mate. That microphone might explode.
Love that. I love that one.
Yeah, you're not getting battered wearing that thing. And then the last one, you could even get the France one. That's a bit of an ode to the Statue of Liberty, which I don't hate either.
We're actually going to France in August, so I've actually got the third kit, the Rugby World Cup one, the 150th anniversary. That's on its way to me, so I can fit it in France. Here's your boy. SAS is in the scene.
He is. He's already complaining Italy and Jamaica aren't there. Listen, it's their own fault. Italy had every chance and he didn't do it. And Italy's kit was arguably one of the best ones there as well. It's a shame. You can, but you know what though, SAS, if you win, we'll get you the Italy shirt. You can just have, it just won't have the World Cup patches on it.
So one of the shows I did by myself, because you were having a sabbatical somewhere, maybe getting a manicure or a pedicure. I actually talked about that Italy World Cup. I think it's, if you'll find it in one of the things on the side. They were the first nation to release a World Cup shirt that never qualified for a World Cup.
I can believe that.
It out there. Just putting it
out there. I can believe it.
It's in the media assets. If you want to pull it up, it's in there somewhere. We'll go ahead. But this isn't a World Cup show. It's not a World Cup show.
It's definitely not. We're going to go through a few housekeeping things as well, right?
Housekeeping.
I always have that idea. I always used to tell my missus I was in housekeeping, and that's why I made the bed better and things like that, and was very generally clean. But it turns out I was only doing it for 2 weeks as work experience in high school, so kind of a little bit of a white lie there. But
I just thought
relationships than that.
I just thought something funny. The Zidane shirt that's your left, that was the one you wore a couple of weeks ago, right? That looked like your body had morphed into it.
It has been washed.
Right.
It's probably smaller than what it is now, but these are Numazane numbers. These ones.
There you go. Available online.
They are
available online.
I love that. I love this Valderrama one. It's excellent.
Maybe they'll give us a code.
Well, we're building towards that. We're definitely going to squeeze them for a code as well, 100%. But a couple of housekeeping items, mate. I made a comment last week about Spurs. I stand by our Hugger Hotspur campaign. However, I did say that there's a chance all Spurs have to do is win 3 games. And I got battered in the comments. And someone went, just win 3 games. They haven't won for ages. And then all of a sudden, Domino's Pizza released a thing that said that Domino's have sold like 32,000.
No, it was millions. It was millions.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was like 1.6 million pizzas since Tottenham last won a game.
Tottenham last won a game. So yeah, it's easier said than done. I just thought, I mean, we'll get to them this weekend. I just thought they might have nicked something. They just need even a draw. Don't get beat. But now they've only got 6 chances. Today the news came through, didn't it? Unfortunately, that the former Arsenal goalie Alex Meninga had passed.
Sad one. That Premier League winner, FA Cup winner, Charity Shield winner, and Serie A winner with Juventus as well.
And I know a lot of people may not know this. Actually, played for Liverpool as well at some point.
Right.
But he was more fondly remembered, I would imagine, for being at Arsenal.
Good luck. Being a handsome bastard as well.
Yeah, young lad as well, wasn't he, at the time? But yeah, it's a sad one that. But he's passed as well today. So. Yeah, exactly. SAS, little bit of love from there. I'm not surprised either. But yeah, so there was that, and then obviously Iriola's decided he's not coming back to Bournemouth at the end of the season. Yeah,
you see that sometimes with the international coaches, don't they? They come over, they have a feel for it, maybe make a bit of bag, and then decide that it's time to go back to Spain. The one thing that will may come to a light in a bit more, because you and I have talked about this before. He's been tipped for a lot of big jobs in the Premier League. And he's been tipped for big things. So it makes you wonder if maybe he's been tapped up by someone in Spain, or, what's next for him. Madrid don't really seem to have the answers. Whether it'll go that level up, I don't know. But I mean, Barcelona and Madrid have got a history of picking managers that haven't really done much and going in there to try and turn things around. But great manager, done wonders at Bournemouth with no money, and every player they've had that's shown a little bit of skill, a little bit of talent, they've had to sell them. So There you go. Old Sass put it in there as well.
It's a strange one, though, isn't it? Like he gets linked all the time. Like he gets linked with everyone's saying, "Oh, Palace." But if you're at Bournemouth, are you going to Palace? Like, is that a jump?
No, they're talking a bit at the minute, aren't they? With what's his name, Frank Lampard at Coventry. Because obviously Coventry, I think they've won the league pretty much now. I think they have to lose the next 8 games. But they're talking about with Frank, and they're saying, well, we got linked to Crystal Palace last year, I think. And now they're linking him to Bournemouth. Coventry have got the potential to literally get back in the Premier League, but then they've got a bit of money. I think they've got American owners. So they can splash cash and they can advance. And I always look at clubs with fan bases, right? I'll talk about Dirty Leeds, just because Bob's listening and stuff. Dirty Leeds being in the lower divisions and stuff, they still had the fan base. If they could get their shit together off the pitch, there's no way that they can't come in and sustain themselves in the Premier League, right? So you've got the difference between a Bournemouth who don't necessarily have a fan base. Well, they have a fan base, but not a global scale fan base. The stadium's not exactly, big enough to support good revenue to sustain them. So I always look at teams. Brentford's another one that there may be, in my opinion, they're there for a little window of time, but you can't sustain it. You can't sustain that over a period of time because you got bigger. Forest are a prime example of that. In the lower leagues for many, many years, got the opportunity to get back in the Premier League. Now they're spending the money. Now they're looking to sustain themselves in the Premier League. And some of these smaller clubs, they could maybe come up for 3 or 4 seasons if they have a good core group of players and a good manager. But you can't keep that up long term. We saw it with Wigan a few years ago. You knew the Wigan ride wasn't going to last forever. Bradford were another one that came in the Premier League for a bit of time. Not Frank.
Yeah, honestly, the thing is, if I'm like Heavy Kev's going in here as Palace as well, like we'll get to Palace in a minute. Kev, if you want to come on for a 1-minute rant tonight, mate, give us the heads up and we'll get you the link. But SAS says the same thing. I don't know if I'd want him at Liverpool. It just doesn't seem like. I think Liverpool needs someone more of a patriarch figure. And that's just me being maybe a little bit more nostalgic, but I don't think we need another head coach.
You lot are prime for shabby. It's been building for 6 months now.
I'm not on that either. I'd rather Pochettino than him.
I'm sure they'll both be out of work come the end of the summer.
Yeah, I would imagine so, right? But any more housekeeping? Did we talk about the injuries? Couple of bad injuries this week, hasn't
it? It's a funny one because this time of the season, you've got players they've got one eye on the World Cup, right? Because it's the biggest tournament in the world. They've got one eye on the World Cup, but they've also got key games coming up for the league and domestic and European games as well. You've seen Ekatike go through an injury. It's probably going to put him out for 6 months. Unfortunately,
9 months probably.
Yeah. Unfortunately, tonight you saw Chris Wood last 20 minutes before the Porto defenders did a Hulk Hogan kick on his leg at a crazy height and stuff. And Woody, that could be the end of Chris Wood, I'm afraid to say, because from the reports I've heard from Forest fans and people around the club and stuff, they were saying he's been in pain every day since the injury. Every day he's had some kind of discomfort. And then, there's certain things as ex-players, we know about with, cortisone shots and, there's remedies and meds you can put onto. But if you've got that pain and you're in that kind of discomfort every day, you're one thing away from being something that's going to really affect you for the rest of your life. And Woody's not the youngest spring chicken anymore. He's the wrong side of 30, like you and I, Gary, but different stories.
Wrong side of 40 now.
Well, mate, nobody knows how old we really are, so we can say whatever. But, Woody now, he's got the injury tonight, and he's definitely not going to make the World Cup this summer. And it's a hard one, isn't it? Because teams domestically want their players to give 100% to stay in the leagues and win competitions and qualify for Europe. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of these players. And, it's going to be the biggest World Cup of all time, just because of the money and what's at stake and everything. And like we say on another show, how many players have made a move off the back of a good World Cup?
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? I mean, I'm not saying Ekatike wouldn't be going anywhere, but it's interesting. Like, it is tough for these players that come off the back of this. And especially if you're like, not Chris Wood, but if you're a younger player who's at a club that's really, it's really going. Look, here we go, straight away. Turvin, straight in. He's older than he looks. Yeah, listen. Do well for myself, don't I?
You do all right. You do all right.
But I think these players, it is a tough one. But ultimately, you've got to play football. You've got to play football like every game's your last game, hasn't it? You've got to just play. You can't have one eye on something else. It's not gonna help you. You can't pull out of a tackle because you think, oh well, I'm not going to get this move. And players do it, and we know that. But it's just a very tough situation. And the timing's unfortunate for Ekitike because he was having a half decent season in what has not been. He's been one of the shining lights of Liverpool's season. So for me. For him to get into like that is a killer. And Chris Wood, like you read reports on him, he's battled back from that, and then literally to get absolutely walloped in his first game back.
Yeah, 7 months he's out for.
Game back. Yeah, it's sad, and when you're at that age, it's very, very tough to recover mentally as well. Because now he's back on the treatment table, sat there again, back where he thought, trying to get away from for the last 7 months. But yeah, no, it's a tough one, mate. Very tough.
It is sad news. Let's talk about some positive stuff, shall we?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do, right? Because we were going to do our dead hard question.
Yes.
But I think we do our dead hard question. We've got a little bit of a challenge with this, so we're going to do that as homework.
I was going to say, let's do some homework this week.
So
we've just
got a question.
Okay.
So our first question, just an underlying theme. You can think about it. We'll give you the answer at the end before we go to the dead hard question as well. But the question, I just saw this. It's named 3 defenders to win the PFA Player of the Year award since the inception of the Premier League in 1992. So the only 3 defenders to win the Player of the Year. And you, to be fair, when we were doing this before, your first guess was nowhere near it as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was confusing because he'd won. What was the other? He was the only defender to win something twice. It was a different award.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's like the Writers' Awards because it's that season again. Right. It's coming around again, and I would imagine. Because it's a strange one as well because the voting starts. I think the players have to vote at Christmas around that time. So it's a little bit daft, really, isn't it? So I've got to say, I think Declan Rice maybe for this one this year, but who knows? All right, should we go to the games from last week?
Yeah, let's do it. All
right, Friday night, West Ham 4, Wolves 0. West Ham look strong again. Can they make it? Can they get over the line?
It's a challenge because we've talked about West Ham for a few years and a few weeks now, and their challenge has always been they just can't score goals. They've struggled to score goals. They've had great performances, a bit like Forest, lots of chances, but they just cannot score goals. Wolves had that mini revival, didn't they? Where I picked them for 3 weeks on the bounce, and they beat Arsenal. I think they beat Villa on that run, and they did all right. But I think that's probably the nail in the head for the Wolves now, unfortunately. Obviously, Robert playing around the Premier League.
Yeah, even that bounce coming up when Rob Edwards come in. But again, sometimes you're not going to get it right. Wolves are a bad side. They're down there for a reason. So even as much as goodwill and planning Rob Edwards can put in, stuff like this is going to happen. But it's good for West Ham to get them. It keeps them in the hunt and it keeps the bottom part. Yeah, exactly. Massive result for them. And it chucks Spurs. And it chucks Spurs right back in it again. So again, we'll just throw that up on the screen just for 2 seconds just to make sure people are aware of it.
So one of the things that we've talked about before, and we've talked about, kickoff times across the weekend. We saw it a couple of weeks ago when Arsenal were playing one game before City on the same day. Do you think that Friday night result added more pressure to Tottenham's game at Sunderland? It just puts that extra little bit of pressure on it, doesn't it? Because now someone's climbed up. They've had a big win. West Ham's, I think their goal differences was a bit upside down. So they've improved their goal difference. They've had that massive win. It's a statement win, right? If you beat anyone at home 4-0, that's a statement piece to say, okay, we're ready now. When's the next game coming? We don't have any European games. We've got no cup games. We're now going to prepare to the next game to continue this challenge. Tottenham were under a lot of pressure at that time. New manager comes in, just gives it that little bit more. Because if it's a draw or they lose, then it's like, hang on, guys. Hang on, lads. You know what I mean? There's a bit more G up in the dressing room, but now it's like, fucking hell, they just won 4-0, and it's that little bit of extra pressure that maybe they didn't need.
I think so too. And you're seeing it as well. Like Arsenal are playing games before Man City, and in Scotland it's massive because the Scottish League, and I know they were talking about Premier League, but Scottish League similar. Like Rangers were the last team to play last weekend, and because it's so tight, just like you said, the psychological advantage of playing a day earlier or playing in the morning when teams are playing at night is just unbelievable because it's already in the back of your head. Like you could see it with Tottenham. Like we could talk about the Tottenham game now as well if you want on the Sunday. Like
I mean, back in the day when we were playing, and you're in the ground with your radio to your ear, aren't you? And it gets filtered around the ground, and the players would hear from the fans what the scores were in the other games. Now it's flashed on the scoreboards, and people on the bench, you got the phones and stuff. But like you say, when they're not playing at the same times and stuff, they're watching the games. I think if I was a head coach now, I'd be purposely saying to if there's a morning game, I'd pull them all in for an early lunch. No TVs, no phones, just focus on this game. I know it's hard to do in today's day and age, but you've got to kind of isolate, get yourself into that bubble and just focus on there. You take care of that. I'll keep waffling a bit. But then, going into Sunday's game, you've got the Tottenham game where they've gone to Sunderland, which is a horrible place to go to at the best of times this season.
Yeah.
Sunderland are no mugs at home. They struggle a little bit on the road, but they've done very, very, very well at home. And Tottenham have gone there and, they've lost their captain. They've had a few tough decisions and it's gone against them. And you just felt that as the game progressed, that element of kind of panic and nervousness started to kick in, which is weird because there's still several games left to go, right? You normally see that if there's like 1 or 2 games to go and you got your calculator out. But it's easy to talk in hindsight. If there was 3 wins they needed to get out of the next 6, 7 games, you could probably do it. But now it's a mind.
It is. It is. And I'm surprised. And any Spurs fans are watching, but I'm surprised that they didn't play. Xavi Simons came on right in the second half, and he just, Spurs were on the last 10 minutes. Spurs were looking like they were going to do something, but for the first bit, it was very cagey and it was unlucky, and there was a lot going on. And I just feel like, look, that's a fair point as well. Social media, smartphones. It's just constant, isn't it? You can't. It's very difficult for a coaching staff to block that sort of thing out. And and fair play to Leeds because they had to wait all the way till Monday night.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes back to remember David James's PlayStation back in the day. When, that was there was one I was reading the other day about. There was I think it was a Brazilian player that went to Real Madrid and he got addicted to Crash Bandicoot. Remember Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation?
Yeah,
and he got addicted to it. And I reckon that's why his Madrid career fell to bits because he was playing that till all through the night and stuff. But yeah, it is hard to isolate these players, and it's very rare now that players can stay off social media, keep their heads down, because it's not something you can instill in somebody. It's a complete lifestyle change that a lot of people make when they're younger in life. I don't know if I told you, I used to go to school with Chris. Well, Chris Kirkland was the same age as me, and he went to the opposite high school that I went to in Leicester, and good friends with a lot of his good friends and whatnot. And his best friend at school was a kid called Scott Bromley, who I used to play football with. Scott Bromley incidentally broke Gary Lineker's youth scoring record. Another story for another day. Anyway, Chris was one of those kids at a young age, didn't go to the parties. He would focus on, football, and he had good people around him, focused on what he needed to do to progress as a footballer. I unfortunately, just wanted to enjoy myself when I was a young aspiring footballer, and different channels go different ways. But players today, there's just probably more pressure than ever before, because of the money, because of social media and all that kind of good stuff. But here we are on social media talking about the game as well. Yeah,
true. But like SAS says there as well, though. Everything about all the players, don't you? And that's the biggest thing. So, even go to Leeds on Monday night, playing at Old Trafford, haven't won there for how many? 45 years? Something like that.
Something crazy. And this was actually my game of the week last week when we were picking the games and everything.
Yeah, warranted as well.
Because it's, it's still a local derby. It's still rivalry. There's still, a short distance and period between the two cities. They've got history. And form in these games kind of go out the window. I don't think Leeds, I don't know if Bob's still on, but I don't know if Leeds had not won in 6 or 7 games prior to this. United were kind of a little bit inconsistent form-wise, but you'd have picked United at home to beat Leeds in this one, just being, quality and enough to get over the line. But there was a lot of controversy in this game, Gary. A lot of controversial stuff.
I think this is the one, isn't it? Martinez, are you having this? Is this a red card?
I'm just not, because again, there's 2 instances. If you look at just prior to this, how he kind of karate chops him in the throat, and it just, again, the problem I've got with VAR is where they start watching the game through photos, and you can freeze frame thing in the worst possible scenario. It's normally done by people who have not played the game, so they don't really understand. They don't really understand, what players do in that context during that kind of time and everything. And it wasn't malicious. I'll tell you what, I'm going to see him on the show next week.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was nothing really malicious. It was against the run of play, but it comes down to a few things, right? We want consistency in games, and
he just won't let it go.
He won't let it go. We want consistency in games. One of the things that we got about VAR, we mentioned it at the World Cup 2010, where you wanted VAR to improve the games for right decisions and stuff. My fear now is two things. Number one, next year with the VAR changes, it's going to cripple the game. Games are going to be stop, start, stop, start. They're going to be checking throw-ins. They're going to be checking corners. They're going to be checking people blowing the nose and all that kind of stuff. The other thing it does for me when we see results like this.
All right, mate, calm down.
when we see stuff like this, does it make you think where the so-called Big Six, it just speeds up the Super League? Because they just can't be arsed with dealing with stuff like this on a week-to-week basis.
I don't know. I just think it's instead of finding ways to de-escalate things and just let things go. Like, I like the way that the VAR is in the Champions League, out with a couple of decisions. Obviously, Liverpool didn't get a penalty. It just seems a lot more clear-cut in the Champions League.
Right.
Like they look at it, it's like, no, carry on. And it's like when you listen to these VAR rooms, it seems like there's 4 or 5 lads talking backwards and forwards to each other. It's things like the corners. They're going to be looking at VAR for corners and second yellow cards and everything else. The biggest problem is, and Bob will go for this one, but like, there was 7 minutes of injury time on Monday. And don't get me wrong, I wanted Leeds to win. I loved it at the end. I watched on the telly, I watched the fans clapping and all the rest of it and the players enjoying that. But there was 7 minutes added time in that game. The ball was out of play for 3 minutes and 36 seconds or something like that. And then at 7 minutes, the ref blew the whistle. Right, that's it, done. And that's the one that I'd like to see. And I know it sounds bad, but and you've mentioned it before about the rugby thing, just the ref has his own clock and he's got the time on that clock. And no matter what goes up or what board goes up, here he is. But what board goes up, you've got it on your watch or whatever it is. And then once it gets to your time, you blow the whistle and it's done. So every time the ball goes out, if someone's messing about, stop it.
But you know what? They did it in rugby a few years ago, and it makes such a difference to rugby, right? The referee has the power to control the clock. So if something goes down, it's a serious injury, or he wants to get control of the game, he just says clock off, the clock stops, and it's clock on kind of thing. Because this whole injury time thing, it's you don't know what you're going to get, and then there's the additional time on the additional time, and all this kind of thing. It's inconsistency that drives a lot of fans mad. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, kind of thing. So it's just something they've got to clean up. And my biggest fear for next year, I'm all about poetry, Robert and Gary, is the new rules next year are going to just kill the game, kill it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Geez, we tried to cover all these games. We've ended up talking about those 3. But I reckon we move on. Listen, Arsenal, Bournemouth get the win. It just makes it a little bit difficult now, doesn't it? City, it's in City's hands. City went to Chelsea and did the business. Liverpool got their win. And the craziest thing about this whole thing about Liverpool, he's right. Kev makes a good point, right? Rugby and league VAR is great. It's quick. Yeah. It just goes fast. It's done. And the ref looks after it and it's done. But
Liverpool, just quickly, they brought into cricket a few years ago as well, the third eye or whatever they call it. And old school cricket fans were dead against it. Now it's like it's the savior of cricket. You don't even think twice about it now because it's so quick, it's so instant. The one that pissed me off the other day was at the Forest game when ball gets played over the top, and it was the first time you've seen it was close. And I'm not saying the gender of the woman, but she put a flag up straight away. I think it was Jesus went around the keeper and scored. They didn't even check it. They didn't even show a replay of it. But I did the old rewind on the screen and I paused it. He was about 2 or 3 yards onside. And it was the first time in a long time where I've seen, normally they let it play, right? Then they'll come back and review it. But, maybe she's not played the game or not used to the game. She stuck a flag up straight away. when you're about 25. Don't wave at me. Facts are facts, Gary.
In my head, I'm just like, all that number Zayn money is just gone on fines.
But it's true. It was 25, 30 yards out. It was very close. And the officials are supposed to say, if it's close, you don't put your flag up. Flag goes straight up waving. The player's carried on. He goes around the keeper. He puts it in. Then they obviously get given. But the TV, they never showed the replay. And again, when I rewound it and I stopped it, I'm like, oh, he's actually onside there. That's a bit naughty. The one that's going to do is next year, though. Next year, you've got to have the gap, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's got to be a clear. It's going to be a nightmare. You have to teach a different way, aren't you? You're going to have to coach a different way. Right, I'm getting off this now. We're getting off VAR. Going past any sort of...
You started it.
And you carried it on, my friend.
Wasn't on my list.
I know, exactly. All right, listen, just before we get to this week's fixtures, there's been a number of high-profile European games this week. I wonder if Kev's going to bounce on now, actually, if he's got the link so he can come in. I say yes, you just got to let it go because you get Chris all charged up. But
I want to get if Bob
what do you think? What do you think as far as these runs?
Your microphone.
Well, my microphone's a dog, but like, what do you think about these runs now? You've got Forest, Villa, Palace, and Arsenal all in European semi-finals. Like, I would argue Palace are probably in a better position because they've got nothing else really to worry about. That they're pretty much safe. But they're in this tournament now and they can give it a proper go, even though it looks like Shakhtar are the team to beat in that competition. Villa are going to play Forest in the Europa League. So one of those teams is going to make the final. Villa are obviously pushing for those Champions League places. But again, if they win it, they'll get in anyway. But, Forest today, and I know you're saying Murillo went off injured, but I know that might have been a precaution. Hudson-Odoi got injured today. Chris Wood got walloped.
Came on and went off. Yeah, Hudson-Odoi came on and lasted 20 minutes and went off.
So, like, these players are going. And I know Forest squad's massive, but does that affect them in the running?
I don't think it is massive. I mean, my grumble for last season was when Forest went to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I was all about. I want to get the Champions League and Forest were like top 3, top 4 all season until like the last 2 games of the season, and I was just like, I want Champions League. Because that's the money, right? That's the once you get that kind of money and that kind of bread into the equation, it was like I want a Champions League, and then Forest once they got dumped out of the FA Cup in the semi-final, their season just went downhill from there. I don't think they won a game after coming out of the FA Cup. They lost and drew the last 5 games. And that kind of motivation and momentum have gone. I think this season's a little bit different because the one shining light they've had, apart from being in the relegation dogfight, was been Europe. And Europe's been the one that's kind of, it's easier teams they've faced. So they've been winning games, they're getting motivation. It's been bringing players back. We've got a bit more competition for places this year. So what we found in Europe is a lot of what you could call like the B team or the reserves are actually starting in Europe. So they're getting match fit and they're pushing competition for the starting line for the first team, should say. We saw Ortega start tonight. Ortega's he played most rounds. He's been arguably the best player for Forest in Europe. Got him from Man City. He's got good pedigree on him. But Matt Sells for the last couple of years has been one of the best keepers in the Premier League. So it's good to have competition for places there, but you've also got the run of the risk of, you can get these freak injuries. Like you say, Chris Wood went off after 20 minutes today. His season's done, in my opinion. Murillo's been getting the odd knock every now and again, lasting an hour, 70 minutes. Hudson-Odoi came in at half-time, lasted 20 minutes. He's had groin problems all season. My worry is if they get battered by Villa in the semis, is that going to be a motivation or kill piece that affects the season? Likewise with the Villa, not just to put me Forest hat on for a sec, put me Villa hat on as well. That European drift has kept them going. They've really come into form the last couple of games since McGinn's come back. That without him there, they went through that little blip a month or so ago where I think they lost 3 games on the bounce and they went 4 or 5 games without winning. McGinn's come back into the fold now. They're scoring goals for fun. They look a different team. I mean, best team on the park on Sunday against Forest for sure. And McGinn ran the midfield. I know a lot of people gone about Elliot Anderson and Gibbs White. McGinn ran that midfield.
See, that's a tough one for Palace there. Wharton's been their guy, hasn't he, as well?
Don't rate him, Gary.
Got battered around. You don't think he's fast enough. I think he's all right. But thinking with Arsenal as well, right? This is another one, right? So Villa, obviously, you would hope. I mean, Unai Emery has missed the Europa League, isn't he? Hasn't he won more Europa Leagues than any other manager?
Never won a domestic trophy though. Never won a domestic trophy.
But he's got this on. He's got this one going, hasn't he? I think with Arsenal as well. Like sometimes people will say, yeah, it's good to keep this winning momentum up. But if you look at the last month, if you were looking at the beginning of April or middle of March, Arsenal was still in every competition. You had Arsenal TV guys like they normally do, is talking about, we're going to win everything. This is the season we can win 4 things. They get bumped. They get beat in the final of the Carabao Cup. They get bought out of their FA Cup by Southampton. A very unflattering performance over 2 legs against Sporting Lisbon. Now they've got Atletico Madrid, which is going to be... It's all points towards the worst Champions League semi-final ever, because they're both Simeone knows how to mix it, and he's the most stubborn person out there. You've got Arteta, who's now in a mode where they're playing a certain way and it's not exactly attractive. So I just wonder if it's going to affect Arsenal. Do you think them just carrying on playing? Like Saka's, people are saying Saka's getting injured. There's other little injuries there. Like, are they going to have enough to get over the line? Is the Champions League going to be too much of a distraction? Because ultimately, again, it all's on the line this weekend, isn't it? If City win this weekend, and now they've got a game in hand on Arsenal to go level on points and probably jump them in goal difference, depending on, because they're game in hand against Palace, don't forget, who are probably going to be looking at Europe.
Resting players.
Is that going to be something that Arsenal are going to struggle with now? I think it might be. It's just another twist to the season for them.
I think one of the things that Arteta's really struggled to do is push reset and try and get the players to say, look, we're in this position for a reason. We've won games for a reason. It's sometimes it's easy to be second chasing the pack, but we are top of the league. They're chasing us, but he can't quite seem to get them going again, pushing reset, which, we've seen with, again, sort of hark on about the past, as Ferguson was the king of it, right? Didn't matter what they did, he could get his teams to push reset and go again. Mm-hmm. Pep's done it brilliantly over the years, where Pep always goes from like January through March without losing a game, just at rapid fire, getting players, all right, win that game, on to the next game. And he can't seem to get them going. Like you say, they had 2 awful games again in the Champions League, where they just, got through for, a weird goal, basically, in injury time. Mm-hmm. And he just can't seem to get them going again. But, we could be sat here in 5 weeks' time, Gary, saying they've won the double. And now it's like... And
that's it. That's football, isn't it? But they're certainly making it interesting for everyone around them. Speaking of making it interesting, mate, I've got to go to fantasy football.
Do it.
I did last week. I had my little statistic and everything else. But this week for people who do play fantasy football, it's a double game week this week. There are a number of teams on double game week. So according to my friends at Premier League Fantasy Football, which I acquired, let's just say that, this graphic from, this is the team we're looking at this week. And you'll be happy to know that I have taken a number of these players. So you've got Darlow. Leeds have got 2 games. Again, you know what? You look at these games, like Leeds have got Wolves and Bournemouth in this game week. 2 winnable games for them. Could put them well out of trouble.
Right.
Senesi got linked with Liverpool today. O'Reilly just seems like the man of the moment. He has to be on the plane.
He's on the plane, yeah.
Van Hecker. A couple of difficult games for them, but they've got him in as well. Cole Palmer is the biggest enigma this season for me, and Chelsea fans will come for me, but he's done nothing. He's
been a bust. He's been a bust.
This season, he went through on goal. He went through on goal on Sunday against Man City, and his way to pass was awful. And it basically not been good.
I think Paul Mercer made a good comment a couple of weeks ago, where it's like Jackson was the guy that literally got the best out of Palmer, and Palmer got the best out of Jackson. And when Jackson left, Chelsea were missing something, because they knew each other. They knew how they played with each other. They knew, when Palmer got the ball, Jackson would just go. He'd come short and he'd turn it, he'd go. And they don't really have that link up anymore. I know Pedro's in there, but Pedro's more a different kind of player.
Can't swap Turkey for Palmer, because then that gives you 4 Man City players. You can't have that.
No,
I know.
Turkey for France in the summer is going to be deadly, isn't he?
Oh, he's savage, and he's funny to watch, isn't he? And then you got the usual suspects up front. Calvert-Lewin, I think there's goals in Calvert-Lewin. Tavernier has got a decent delivery on him. And again, these games, like Bournemouth away, he's going to need someone up front like that. I think he's going to do all right. Pedro's got goals in him as well. He's got you men at home, or your second team at home on Saturday. So we'll see. But that's my fantasy football. You'll be happy to know that I've got 5 of these players. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, but they're almost certainly guaranteed to do absolutely
nothing.
All. Absolutely
bubbles.
All right, we are in injury time, so to speak.
All
so
right.
we are going to go through to. I've still got Haaland as my captain. So, but to be fair, I toyed with Semenyo, but I'm going to keep Haaland. If you want to go Semenyo,
you can never bet against Haaland. You just can't because he's got a hat trick in any minute. He's got a hat trick. He's gonna. I think when all said and done, he's gonna pretty much. If he stays in the Premier League, he'll break every single record of the Premier League's ever had for strikers because he's just a beast, isn't he?
I've got this for you, mate. Are you ready?
Go on.
This is a 1-minute rant. Kevin's in the house.
Hey! How's things, guys?
It's all right. You sound like you're on Mars, if I'm honest. For someone who's a sound engineer or a producer, Kev, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I've got my good headphones on. I got my mic on. It's lagging a bit.
That sounds mental, mate. I can't even understand you. All right, quick. You've got 30-second rant about Palace in this subterranean language that you're speaking.
What about this?
Oh, it sounds terrible.
What I'm going to do is quickly piss off and put my other mic on.
Oh, he's getting better than a second.
Just unplug everything and then start again.
No, I'm using my computer mic.
Okay, go for that one then. Rock and roll it. Whilst he gets ready, I'll mention it one more time. Do you think we've got a competition? We've got a competition coming up. World Cup shirts of your choice. If you've not done so already, follow us, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. What else we got there, Gary? Tinder, whatever you guys are on, follow us on those. Give us a follow. Give us a tag. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, send us a screenshot. I'll enter you to the raffle. We're going to be giving away 2 World Cup shirts.
Oh, that's
there we go.
Kev. He's in.
There we go.
In the room.
Yay!
All right, we'll give you a minute, Kev. Go on. What are you saying about Palace?
They got freaking battered this morning by Fiorentina. They snuck through, but yeah, like you said, the VAR was good.
Yeah, it did a good job, didn't it?
I think we get 12th place. We've sort of reserved that place, so I don't, who cares? Hey, I just had to say one thing that why I always crack up when I see you guys. Do you guys know Harry Enfield?
Yes.
Every time I see Gary, I got this. Hey, Gary. Hey, fucking Larry. Hey, you want to fucking fight? Hey, Gary and Barry.
Oh, Kev, I didn't know you were going to come all the way on just to slag me off.
Gary and Barry, we should do that. We should do that one. That we should do a skit.
I'm not bringing the wigs back. It's not happening.
No. But it's a bugger.
There's no idea for Bob.
Yeah, it's a bugger about Chris getting hacked, but and him probably not being there for New Zealand, but we'll survive without him like we usually do. Premier League, I really just want to see Arsenal choke, just to hear the fans whinging. Oh, mate. I mean, they've been whinging while they were winning everything. Imagine if they fuck out on the bloody Premier
But they kind of want that, though, Kev. That's how they make their money. That's how they make their brand, right? It's all about the whinging, and they've got that weirdo that just thinks Arsenal are the best team ever, regardless of the statistics and everything like that. So when they get into turmoil, these supporters, it's clickbait because it gets them likes, it gets them follows. Non-Arsenal fans are watching it because it's funny watching people have a meltdown.
But I sort of started getting on a few chat groups with the Arsenal fans when Eza went there because he's a Palace legend, and Oh my God, I could not last on those chat groups for more than about 2 minutes. It was fucking terrible. The Scousers, American Scousers, and all those guys, yeah, fine. Buddy Forest guys, Man United guys, whatever. But fucking Arsenal guys, horrendous.
He's been doing all right this year, hasn't he? As he's been doing all right since he's been at Arsenal. He's been one of their highlights, if I'm honest. And he's a good, honest guy. We talk about issues off the field. I think he's a devout Christian. He doesn't drink. He doesn't party. He's got his head in the game, and it's refreshing to see that in football. But I think he's done great since he's been there for his first season.
Yeah, and I was just saying, Gary, have you met Chris Richards?
No,
with the American national team.
I haven't. No.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought you might have seen those guys. Yeah, no, I won't hold you up long, but I got in an argument today with a whole lot of Palace fans about following ex-players, and I was raving about that goal that Elise scored for Bayern.
Oh yeah,
right.
And all these Palace guys, once I've left Palace, I don't give two shits about them. And I'm still following Wolf Zaha at Charlotte, mate. I love watching him play.
Wilf's a good player,
man. He had a couple of worldies, and I'm thinking, God, we'd have him back. I follow Eza, I follow Elise, anybody that, you know. So just interested in what you guys think about following ex-players.
Well, I'm following Luis Diaz right now, thinking why.
Oh, well, he's playing a bloody... Yeah, well, he scored a worldie for fucking Bayern.
Yeah.
And then at least they got the next one. It's like, wow.
I know.
Yeah, it depends who they join. Over Forest over the years, there's been ex-players that have come back and they've got pelted by the fans for, you know, what Collymore did it the first time he came back to Forest, and they get pelted by the fans. But then fast forward a few years, Collymore does the circuit now, and he'll go around the Forest pubs and the Forest clubs, and he'll get in with the players and he'll do the supporters thing. So it's why they leave, and it's almost about the same with, you know, how respectful are they when they come back to your ground. That kind of side of things. I mean, when Stuart Pearce left, when Keano left, I love Roy Keane's career after he left Forest. You know, he left, we were relegated. He just signed a new contract before. And, you know, that's football. It's when they leave and play for a rival and, you know, G up when they score and all that kind of side of things. But I don't have a problem with it. It's football.
So, Kev, just before you go, mate, go on, quick one. Are you in on the Conference League now? Forget the Prem, you're safe. All in on the Conference League.
Yeah, we're safe. And I, like I say, I think a lot of the guys are playing for their, you know, international spots.
Yeah.
It used to be back in the day that Palace had one international player, and now most of the team are all, you know, be going to the World Cup. So yeah.
No, plenty to follow.
Just one last thought. Imagine what the Premier League's going to look like if Spurs get relegated. They've never been not in the Premier League.
No. That was in one of the quizzes.
It's gonna feel weird, mate.
I know they're not there yet, mate. I've got to hold on to hope because my missus is a Spurs fan, so I can't be all over it just too much just yet, mate.
Yeah, I've got an awful feeling they're going to get out of jail this one, but hey, it'd be nice if they didn't. Be nice if they did.
No. I just don't. I just get bored with the usual suspects going down and then the same lot coming back up, and well, I want to see some new guys.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, listen, you want your missus? Isn't your missus from Middlesbrough? You want them coming back up, surely?
Yeah. She's over tonight with her cousin that's visiting down here from Middlesbrough, so that's why I've got my Palace shirt on. I only wear it for revving people up.
Legend. Good to see you, buddy.
Kev, it's great to see you, mate. Take it easy. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, cheers, guys.
See you, mate. Fuck, there he is again.
All right.
The legend.
We're in extra time. We're going to get through the
extra time. I couldn't turn him down. I'm not going to not put him on.
Welcome every time. Welcome. Let's look at our picks of the week, shall we? Should we talk about the picks of the weeks?
Okay, so I've gone with, if you look at this weekend, I've gone, fair play, right? A little bit of a round of applause for Kev. It's fair play to him. He sorted his microphone out. He sounded like he was part of that Artemis crew then, and he left him behind.
I say what, SES, if you've got a camera and a microphone.
Mate, you're next. Yeah, exactly.
You're next, buddy. You're next.
All right, so I went with, who did I go with? Game of the week. Go on, you tell me, because I've got
That's why I write it down, Gary. That's why I write it down. Game of the week. You went with Newcastle Bournemouth for some reason.
Because Newcastle give away goals at home, and Bournemouth are going to put a show on for the manager because he's leaving.
They got nothing to play for. I went for City Arsenal. I think that's the big one on Sunday.
Of course you did.
It's a make it or break it, isn't it? City have got to win it. Arsenal have just not got to lose. So I think it's going to be not Pep. Mikel's going to park the bus and Pep's going to go for it. And I think it's going to be a great game of football. And I think City are going to batter them, to be honest. I think this could be the beginning of the end.
Oh, we'll see. And then go on, then you've got my other ones. I had
shock of the week. Shock of the week, you went Sunderland.
At Villa, yeah.
And I went Everton.
Of course you did.
But it's a Merseyside derby. When was the last time Everton beat Liverpool?
I know. I just hope Andy Robertson plays in that. And want Andy Robertson and Salah to play in it just for a little bit of bite.
Right. And then
not bad. Man United Chelsea won't be a bad one either. Spurs Brighton has got the potential. De Zerbi going up against this old boys. That's not. And then
lock of the week. You're obsessed with Mr. Robert, aren't you? You've gone Leeds again. We're going to review this at the end of the season, and you probably have Leeds in more locks than Sean Lock.
I just think that Leeds are in a moment now. They've just beat United. If they beat Wolves, I think they're good. I would argue. I think they put themselves in a very strong position if they could beat Wolves.
All right, and I went Villa. I think Villa's form at the minute, they're flying, scoring goals at fun. They're at home. Sunderland have had a good season, but they don't travel well on the road. So I think Villa, they'll be too strong for them at home. Positiveness. They've got a lot of players coming back from injury now. Tammy Abraham's got an assist today, and he's going to get a few goals before the end of the season as well. And I think they're just sparking. Watkins is scoring consistently, which is good for his World Cup place as well. So yeah, I think Villa will be too strong for them.
All right. Okay. So as we said at the beginning, we did have a question. No one chipped in on it, but did you have any of these ones just before we get to our dead hard one? It was only 3 defenders to win PFA Player of the Year. I've got to say Van Dijk's in there.
Yeah. One of them I think I do know because it was one of my favourite players growing up in Manchester as a child, which is Paul McGrath.
Okay. And then
the other one, it's going to be JT.
Up, isn't it? It's Ferdinand, Vidic, or JT. JT. All right, it is JT. Paul McGrath at Villa, JT at Chelsea, and Virgil van Dijk. All right, so just to piggyback, and I hate that expression, but I'm going to use it, just to jump on the back of the predictions for this week. This is what we've got. So I went for
the two handsome young men in that caricature.
AI is brilliant, isn't it? AI is brilliant. So this is going to be the question. This week. There's a question off the back of this. So if you look at these stats, right, you've got all these teams: Sunderland, Everton, Leeds, Villa, Arsenal, City, Bournemouth, and Newcastle. The proper dead hard question. Okay. And this is homework, right, Chris?
Yes, Gary. This is homework. So what we're going to do this week, we're going to ask you the question, and we'd like you to study it. We'd like you to give your answers on our Facebook, our Instagram. That's pretty much it for now. Facebook or Instagram. And then every answer we get correct, we're going to put you into that raffle. We'll put you into that draw. And we'll announce the answer to this question on next Thursday's show.
And the question is, name 4 players who have played for at least 3 of the teams on this graphic. So name 4 players who have played for at least 3 of the teams on this graphic. Now, here's the extra caveat as well.
That's proper dead hard.
That is proper dead hard, but there's a caveat to this as well. There's always some smart ass who finds a 5th or maybe even a 6th. If you do that and you get 5th and 6th, including the ones that we've got, then that just maybe will give you an extra entry into the raffle. Something like that.
Tickets. What can we win, Gary? I'll tell you quickly because we've ran out of time, but we're here anyway. You can win 2 World Cup. You win a World Cup shirt of your choice. We're going to give away 2.
Doesn't have to be those 2. It can be that one. It can be Scotland. Yep. It can be Curacao. It can be France away as well, amongst every other one. All the Adidas original ones are brilliant.
It could be Italy.
It could be Italy. Yeah. SAS.
They've made them. They're sat in a warehouse somewhere.
If you really want one of those Bob Marley Jamaica ones as well, mate, you're welcome to that as well. We can find that for you. All right. So before we go, mate, it's been absolutely heavy this one tonight.
It's been top.
But thanks for everyone. Lucky's all over it. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Chris, thanks for your time, mate. Thanks to our sponsor, Number
Zane.
Yes, with the t-shirt.
Number Zane.
All right, okay.
No.
We will be back next week with World Cup Wednesday, and we will see you. He's here now, isn't he? That's an early shout. If they win the Champions League, mate, I wouldn't disagree with you.
No question. I think he wins it regardless.
We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of bias in that trophy, in that competition. But anyway, that's been me. That's been Chris. And we will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the footy.